So, after studying and getting a bit tired, time for the next school day. Today is going to be kind of important. It's our introduction to a pretty major thing in this game. Hey look, it's Kenji. Gary 2's like, it is true. Still early. Yeah, well, Gary Stu's like, at least he's not interested in Yukari. At least I don't have to get rid of him. Yeah, weird stuff has been happening. But someone seems to be talking to us at least. And it's already after school. Move along, nothing to see here. Nothing important happened at school today. But now, we're gonna have a bit of a scripted event here. It's the guy we were talking to earlier. He's asking if we want to get ramen after school. Why do you want to eat? When people need to eat to live. But he's free. I guess we're free. So we can have a bit of a conversation. Let's talk and get ramen. Remember what Igor said, the more friends we make, the stronger we are in battle. This looks like a good opportunity to make a friend. And so, it begins. I told you we'd be coming here sooner or later. In Japanese culture, it's actually considered polite to slurp your food. It shows you're enjoying it. I do enjoy ramen from time to time. Special ingredient that's something no other ramen shop uses. That makes me a bit suspicious. Please tell me it isn't love. Seems to be a bit of a ramen fan. Now, in the first level of a social link, what you answer here doesn't matter. But for now, let's try and be as nice as possible. Once again, more on that rumor about Yukari. Tell me about it. Gary Stu is moving fast. Secret plan, huh? Why do I get the feeling that's going to be ominous? We've become friends with Kenji. How fitting that the first person we social link with has a surname that could roughly translate as being close to friends. Tomochika, the characters in it, could mean friend and close. Or at least that's one possible reading. But we have established a new social link. Magician Island has appeared in Gary Stu's mind. I had to reference that sooner or later. The Magician Arcana represents action, initiative, self-confidence, and the power to harness one's talents. It often acts as a representation of striving to reach your dreams, and that's why a lot of Magician Arcana characters tend to be quite goal-driven individuals, albeit slightly immature sometimes. With the hands at the bottom of the card raised towards the infinity symbol at the top, a symbol of eternity, the Magician Arcana also symbolizes a bridge between the spiritual world and the human world. And I feel this is actually quite significant because most of the Magician Arcana characters in Persona games tend to be fairly normal, let's say, individuals who act as basically the audience surrogate of the cast, the most relatable character and the most normal. Because of this, Their relationship with the protagonist acts as a kind of bridge between their normal life and the paranormal life they lead fighting the shadows. While this isn't related to the card's traditional meaning, in the Persona series, characters of the Magician Arcana have a tendency to have terrible luck in romance as well. In this game, the Magician Arcana is represented by Kenji Tomochika, the protagonist's classmate who has a thing for older women, especially teachers. We'll see how that goes eventually. But it's also the Arcana of Junpei Iori's persona Hermes, which we've already seen before. In fact, in the female protagonist route of the PSP version of this game, Junpei is actually the Magician Arcana social link, and for that reason, Kenji, tends to kind of pale in comparison to that, and so Kenji's often one of the least remembered social links in this game because he has some pretty tough competition. Interestingly enough, though, Junpei is not a romance option for the female protagonist. Now, if you know this game, you'll know there's a very specific reason for this, but at the moment I'm not going to spoil anything. Now, this is the first social link that is not a plot-based one. It's totally scripted when you first get it, so it's meant to be your introduction to how they work. But from here on, this is one that you'll have to level up on your own time. And due to that, this is the first time when having a matching persona of the Arcana actually becomes relevant. If you have a persona of the same Arcana as a social link, it just has to be in your inventory. It doesn't actually need to be currently equipped. But as long as you have one, all the points that you get from the conversation will be multiplied by 1.5. This is actually really vital to the Max Social Links run, and because of that, there are very specific points in each link where you will need to have a matching persona. For Kenji, it's actually a very specific date, the 28th, and that's next week. So, I'll talk more about getting ourselves a matching persona later, but this is actually one of the toughest challenges of a Max Social Link run early on. To this end, on every Arcana sheet apart from the story-based ones, I've included an indication of how to get the lowest level persona for that Arcana. All of these are very useful to have, because they're cheap to resummon, and once you have them once, you generally don't need to worry about having a matching persona for the Arcana again, since again, they're cheap to get back. This will make more sense later. Now as for the personas this Arcana provides, in fitting with the theme of the Magician Arcana, most of them tend to have high magic stats, and many of them are mythological figures associated with magic, though they often tend to be associated with fire as well, or are fire deities from various mythologies. Magician Arcana personas tend to specialize in fire magic above everything else. So when you're facing enemies with weaknesses to fire, this is usually the Arcana that you turn to. There's really not all that much else to say about it. This is actually quite a straightforward Arcana in terms of what it specializes in, but you might notice the overall persona levels are quite a bit lower than the Fool. That's because you start this social link quite early. This is still an early game one, and basically the later in the game that you can start a social link, the higher level the personas that it will provide. So this one's more of an introductory one, but that said, the ultimate persona of this Arcana is actually very useful, but we'll get to them later. I should also mention that any persona on the list that is shown in purple, this means that you need an item that you get from a side quest in order to fuse this persona to begin with. This will make more sense later. We've established the Magician social link. We now have two. By getting to know a person better, we can create a social link. When we fuse personas, the persona that we make will get bonus experience based on how high the social link level is with the character that matches that Arcana. So yeah, you get experience. Not only that, but if you have a persona of the matching Arcana to a social link when you initiate that link, you get a bonus to the amount of friendship points that you get with that link. This is one of the most vital things about this run, and it's why we're actually quite restricted in the kinds of personas that we can use in battle. For now, we don't need to worry, but very soon, we're going to need a Magician Arcana persona. Remember that. But social links do use up the afternoon, so with that done, we're heading back to the dorm. And it's already evening. So yeah, you don't get an opportunity to see movies very often.
Welcome back.
And in case you can't tell, that first social link was 100% forced. It's just a social link tutorial. From now on, though, we have to initiate social links on our own time, and be sure to follow Penguin Knight's guide to see which social links to talk to on which days. Now, something also to note is that Mitsuru refers to your main character by his surname. Exploring Tartarus can be very tiring, as can studying. There are several ways that you can get tired. Now, this red text is interesting. Just because the next day is an important one doesn't mean you won't still get tired. What Mitsuru is saying here is that there's a major change between the vanilla version of Persona 3 and FES. In vanilla Persona 3, on the day before major plot events, you would not get tired in Tartarus, so you could effectively grind as much as you wanted. For this game, they decided, you know what, that was too broken, so that is not true anymore. Even if it's the day before a major plot event, you'll still get tired. There are still benefits to going to Tartarus the day before a plot event, but I'll cover those later. Yeah, so if you're not careful, you might be tired before a major story boss, and that's a bad thing, as being tired in battle is, yeah, a bad thing, trust me. And yes, those who fight in Tartarus become tired, and they might need to take several days to rest. If they keep fighting while they're tired, they might get sick, which is even worse. So when your characters are tired, you might want to hold off on going to Tartarus for a few days until they recover. If we check everyone's status, everyone seems to be healthy. We can also check the stats of each individual party member here. Io still hasn't learned anything. As for Junpei, yeah, Hermes hasn't learned anything either. But for now, we're not going to go to Tartarus tonight. So, this is why being tired is very bad in battle. If you get knocked down when you're tired, it takes longer than usual to stand back up again. Normally it only takes one turn. So, yeah, fighting while tired is a bad idea. So Yukari here, yeah, her persona is good at using skills like Dia. I'll explain her persona in more detail later. Again, Yukari, be very careful about your choice of words or people might get the wrong idea. Yeah, see, there's your bad wording again. Wow. Yeah, these two have some pretty funny banter between each other. Yeah, so something that I haven't actually mentioned. The protagonist is able to equip any weapon. They can equip swords, bows, spears, even things like axes and hammers, or fist weapons. There are a lot of different types of weapons, and basically the protagonist can use them all. Every weapon has different properties when used on the map screen. Some of them are faster but short-ranged, others are long-range but take a while to swing. So getting preemptive strikes on shadows, the timing's a bit different with each weapon. They also have different properties in battle. Junpei uses two-handed swords, but he tends to use them more like a baseball bat. Real men fight with katanas. And here's something else. I didn't mention this earlier because we didn't actually see it. If a character with a melee weapon misses one of their attacks, they can sometimes fall over. This is the same as if they've been hit by a weakness by an enemy. They get knocked down. This is kind of bad. Yukari has the advantage here. If she misses with her bow, she doesn't fall over. So that is something important to know. Well, that's a bad way to start a news story. Oh. Nothing but bad stories in the news. It's exactly what we're trying to stop. Now, again, we have an opportunity to save here, so we should probably take it. For now, though, we're going to actually head out into town. And do what we do on Wednesday nights. Now, any night that is not an arcade day and is not Saturday, at this point in the game, we need to spend it seeing karaoke. Or karaoke is the more correct Japanese pronunciation. It's basically short for empty orchestra. And just to show this, at night, you can't go to the police office to buy new weapons. Let's also check our money. We need to be very careful with our cash at this point, since, again, that movie and the horror game, they cost money. Depending on how much you found in Tartarus in the first expedition, you might actually need to sell a few things to make ends meet this week, because we need to sing karaoke at Mandragora every day that is not an arcade day or a Tartarus day, and it costs 800 yen per solo. So, let's sing! Our courage has increased, but it's getting late, we have to go back to the dorm. And since it's late night, we do what we always do, we study. Basically, the game goes a lot faster at this point. Now that we've been fully introduced to everything, days go pretty quickly. Our academics has increased. Okay, we're still feeling sleepy. Now, whether or not you get tired from studying is actually kind of random. At some points, you might want to save and reload just to make sure that you get tired. You only need to get tired once. So, yeah, but every little bit of this helps. I kind of want to get tired soon, just so that I can show off what you get to do when you do get tired. Weird people? What do you mean by that? Everyone knows about Apathy Syndrome, I guess. Oh no, if you have it, that means the shadows have devoured your brain. But today, who cares about that? The athletic teams are accepting new members. We know where the athletics areas are, so maybe we should check that out today. I say maybe, but we're actually going to do that because the guide specifies that we do that today. So yeah, blah blah, athletics teams, recruiting blah. Now, you'll notice here Kenji has an exclamation mark above his head. That means that he is available as a social link today, but we're not actually going to talk to him today. Be sure that you always follow the guide and only do social links that the guide tells you to do. Today is not specified as a magician day, but we can just talk to him. No, we will not meet with Kenji after school, but we can check our social link rank. If we check this, you can see that the next persona available in this Arcana is Nekomata at level 5, and has the skills Argy and Cleave. Now, level 5's a bit of a problem. We're not level 5 yet. We need to be by the next time we see Kenji, pretty much. So, we're gonna have to grind a bit in Tartarus soon. Fortunately, and even if it says Kenji appears disappointed, don't worry, this doesn't actually hurt your relationship with him at all. I think we can do it. Because we're following a guide. Jog before practice, huh? Well, that's interesting. Now, there's a student over here. You can talk to this guy to bring up the town map from inside the school. This is very helpful when you want to see a social link who is not at school. However, the social link we want to see today is at school, so we're not going to do that. Let's go ahead and check outside the classroom. Anyone new here? Well, there's the fangirl. And she's still saying the same thing. For now, though, we need to go to where the athletics teams are. And we know how to get there, don't we? We also want to memorize the route here, because we'll actually be taking it a certain other day as well. So times like these, you wish that school had some kind of a skip travel system, but it's really not that hard to find your way around. In fact, actually, I think I took a longer than usual route to this place. I probably could have taken the other stairs. Anyway, now that we're here, we actually have a choice to make. Well, sort of. This all leads to the track team. They're recruiting new members. We get the option to join. We can choose just to observe, though. We also have the option to join the kendo team and the swimming team. Can you swim like a dolphin? I don't know. You have a choice here. You can choose to go to either the kendo team, the swimming team, or the track team. However, it's really not a choice at all, because the social link that you get out of this sports club is exactly the same no matter which team you choose to join. This is different in Persona 4, where they actually did give you a different social link for each team, but in 3, all of these clubs are identical. They meet on the same days, they give you the same character to talk to, it's all the same. Personally, I like to go with the kendo club because, hey, we're in Japan, why wouldn't we do kendo? And I've always thought that kendo was pretty cool. Back when I was in high school and we were forced to do sports, until I found out that chess counted as a sport, I did fencing, and that was actually pretty interesting. Don't know if I was really any good at it, though. I had a bit of an advantage being left-handed there. So, let's join the kendo team. We'll actually meet 2 people here. Yuko, our manager. Hey, we remember you from earlier. And yes, referring to people by first names is actually kind of rare in Japanese society unless you're friends. We also have Kazushi. We know this guy, we've seen him every day in our school homeroom. Future captain of the team. And we're in the same class. This is the guy that we'll be talking to for most of our time here. And, well, rumors spread fast. Yeah, we've definitely seen him around. Okay then. We're gonna have to go through some pretty intense training for this club. But wait, we've made friends with people, we've befriended them, and that means a new social link is ours. This is the Chariot Arcana. The Chariot Arcana represents victory, conquest, self-assertion, and also self-control. This is shown by the charioteer not actually holding the reins of the 2 sphinxes that are pulling his chariot. He's confident enough in his own abilities that he can lead them wherever he needs to go. It also represents having the willpower to overcome any obstacles in your way. A lot of these traits will be very important for the character who represents this arcana in this game, Kazushi Kaz Miyamoto, the protagonist's friend from their sports club training. Now, unlike Persona 4, I mentioned this before, but I may as well say it again, what sports club you join has no effect on this social link. It is exactly the same regardless whether you do kendo, track, or swimming. Personally, I feel like track makes the most sense for the characters involved in this arcana, but I prefer kendo. Now, as far as the social link goes, this is another one of those arcanas that do require a specific matching persona quite early in the game. In this case, you need to get one by the 30th of April, and that's actually quite difficult, seeing as it is level 6, and currently our protagonist is only level 3. So actually grinding up to level 6 in our first visit to Tartarus is going to be a major challenge, and one of the personas that you need to fuse Aramitama can be a little tricky to get sometimes if the RNG is feeling like a troll. But after we do that, this link should go pretty smoothly. In the female protagonist route of Persona 3 Portable, the Chariot link is represented by Ryo Iwasaki, and you join either the volleyball or the tennis club. Kaz is still present in the female protagonist route, he just has much less of a role. Ryo is actually a really interesting character though, because she has connections to another character who we've actually met before, Kenji. In fact, I quite like her social link because it has some pretty interesting development for both of them really, and I always pretend she still exists even in the male protagonist route because she's actually yeah, I quite like her character. Personas of the Chariot Arcana, in fitting with its symbolism, tend to be heavily specialized towards the physical side of the spectrum. They usually have high strength and specialize in physical attacks, and also physical buffs like Tarukaja and Rakukaja, which boost your attack and defense respectively. These all fit in with the Chariot's themes of determination and willpower, and just victory or physical prowess in general. The Chariot is also a symbol of war, and that's why a lot of personas of this arcana tend to be war gods of respective mythologies as well. So in summary, the Chariot is all about physical offense, but don't think that it lacks subtlety either. Those buffs that it provides, buffs are really, really good in this game, trust me. Now you might also notice those question marks at the top of the list. There is a party member whose persona is the Chariot Arcana, but we're not going to meet them for quite some time, so we don't need to concern ourselves with them just yet. We have established a new social link. And we don't really get to do much on our first day of practice. Spoilers, we don't do much on practice at all, it's mostly just talking. Next time we'll get a uniform. After looking around a bit, we get to go back to the dorm.
Sup, dude?
Wonder if they know each other. They are both Magician Arcana aligned. Tell me about it. You'll see just how fearless he is later. Sorry, Junpei. As much as I want to, we only go to Tartarus on Saturdays this early in the game, so yeah, no. We just did. What he means is we'll get a lot of social link points and get some new personas, hopefully. It also learns a few magical skills like Argi. And I really like this. They actually got mano a mano right. Mano a mano means hand to hand, not man to man, as some people think. And he doesn't use fierce, he uses a sword, so yeah. Okay, Mitsuru's just, we can just choose to talk normally. Yeah, we already know this. Yeah, if anyone's sick or tired, try and keep them out of battles. So Yukari uses a bow because she's in the archery club. And I already explained this earlier. Misses a lot. You normally think of archers in other games as being fairly accurate. I mean, Yukari is actually pretty accurate most of the time. But when she misses, yeah, it tends to really screw you over, so, you need to watch out for that. What I mean by that is that Yukari usually only uses her physical attacks when an enemy is weak to them, so her missing is often a pretty big deal. Well, this is probably better news. Spring Carp. Wow, that's a lot of carp. Wait a minute. That's why you only catch Magikarps with the old rod. It all makes sense now! Anyway, we've got stuff to do tonight, but we can save here. We've made a lot of good progress. Now, tonight is not an arcade day, so what do? We do what we always do. We sing karaoke. Yeah, get used to this routine. We're gonna have to go through this. We're doing this to make sure we max out courage as quickly as possible. And that's really important in this run. The whole thing is so we can start one particular social link at the earliest possible moment that we can, because that really helps with the scheduling for later links. So for now, it's time to go to karaoke. Now, if we pay for karaoke tonight, we're actually going to dip below 3,000 yen, and tomorrow is another arcade day, so we might actually have to sell something. For now, let's sing karaoke until midnight. We sang for hours! And, well, what do we do in the late night? What we always do, study! We better get tired this time so I can actually show what that affects. Academics increased. Really? No tiredness. Okay then. Actually, that might be bad considering that the next day is a